What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going through game week 3, comparing my predictions to what really happened, and as you can see some of them were pretty shit. First game on the Friday night I thought it was going to be 3-1 to Chelsea, they ended up winning 3-0. Chelsea showed a lot of quality, Sterling was fantastic, Jackson was really good as well, but Gallagher was excellent again. Chilwell missed a chance which I'm so happy about, he was literally through on goal and he decided to pass it. And I was crying when he was through on goal because I thought he was going to score, and I didn't bring him into my FPL team, and I was getting stressed, and he passed it. I was so happy. Chelsea did what you expect them to do. They were very dominant, and I think they've definitely turned the corner now. The team have had a few games together, they're gelling better, and there's still more quality to come when Reece James is back. Caicedo definitely looked a lot better in this game, as you expect him to. He couldn't really do much worse than that West Ham game. Luton were pretty poor. They had a little spell at 1-0 where they looked a bit dangerous, but they didn't really create anything. They only had one shot on target, which was through Ryan Giles, and it was straight at the keeper. So they need to improve. However, again, it's another tough away game, and I don't think anyone really expect them to get anything out of it. Bournemouth against Tottenham. Again, I thought Tottenham were going to win, but I thought Bournemouth would get a goal. I predicted 2-1. It was 2-0. Tottenham were excellent. James Maddison, what a player, man. He is so underrated. He's so good. He's my favourite player in the Premier League for a reason, man. This boy, I've known this for a couple of years, yeah, but he is so good. I'm so happy he's finally getting the spotlight and the attention he deserves now. He scored, but he also set Richarlison away where he should have scored. He did that a couple of times. I think there's a pass to Porro, which he should have done better with. Overall, he just controlled the game. He was excellent. He dribbled past players. He made some excellent passes out wide to Son as well. And he made it very hard for the Bournemouth press to work because he dropped deep and to pick up the ball. He's just so good. He's so intelligent. But Bournemouth did have chances. Again, Billing right at the end of the first half had a chance where his finesse shot went just wide of the post. Had a couple others, but it definitely wasn't a whitewash. You know, it wasn't Bournemouth defending the whole game and Tottenham easily getting the win. While Tottenham were very comfortable, Bournemouth had chances. And again, if they play like this throughout the season, they will be absolutely fine. They've still got quality to come in with Adams and Scott both being injured. Adams, I don't think is a great player, but he's the sort of player they need, a more defensive midfielder who can get the ball. And Alex Scott was probably the brightest prospect in the Championship last season. A lot of clubs wanted him, and Bournemouth have got him. And next up, so I got this one horribly wrong, Arsenal-Fulham. I thought it was going to be an easy Arsenal win, and they fucked it up. It was 2-2. Arsenal got off to the worst possible start, man. They conceded within a minute. This has happened 3 times at the Emirates in this past year. That's embarrassing. Palhinha came in for Fulham and made a real difference. He was everywhere. He's so good defensively, man. He's very intelligent, so he can intercept everything coming his way, and he can pass the ball as well. He's a very good player. Another player that made it difficult for the Arsenal attack was Kai Havertz. Oh my god, this guy is so bad. I already made a video about how bad he is, but I think he's even worse than I thought he was. Oh my god. And people are saying, "I'll give him time." People use him as a scapegoat. He's been used as a scapegoat because of how bad he's been, bruv. He needs to do better than this. And Arteta as well, man, he's got to take some blame here because he's shoehorning Havertz into a system that isn't working. Why have they changed the 4-2-3-1 for Havertz? Go back to basics, put Partey back in the middle, bring Gabriel back into the side, and make it go more traditional because that was working, and that's what will suit these players better. And if you want to play this weird system that he's doing, don't play Havertz in there, or play what Smith Rowe's on the bench. You've got Fabio Vieira who came on and made a massive difference. You've got players, man, just stop tinkering with something that didn't need fixing. Go back to basics because Arsenal could have already bottled the title race. This is a game they had to win, in my opinion, because Fulham have City away next week, and I think City are going to walk all over them. This game, it's not even just Havertz was a ghost, because he just was so bad. There's already so many failed comps that have been made from this game, from his performance. Just go check one of them out, man. Some of the there was a chance, right? Just one of them. Saka crossed the ball in a brilliant cross, and Havertz is just walking to the ball. If he runs in there, it's similar to Jackson, but Chelsea actually scored from his one. If he runs in there, Arsenal score. Then there was the 1-2 with Martinelli. I think everyone's seen that. Martinelli passing the ball, wants to make a run. Havertz just kicks it into the empty space back where Martinelli was. What's he doing? This is one where he got the ball, he had 10 yards behind him where he could have ran into, and he decided to just pass it to the Fulham players. He's so bad, man. He's awful. Get out. I'm not even an Arsenal fan and I want him out, man. Fair play to Fulham, man. They really bounced back from that defeat at home to Brentford. They got another red card, which is a bit of an issue, but they got a very credible point here. Brentford Palace, I thought Brentford were going to take it. Turns out that two teams can draw all 5 of their first ever meetings in the Premier League with each other. Another 1-1 draw. Palace were definitely the better side and had the better chances. Flecken made some very good saves. Sharda for Brentford scored a brilliant goal. Not too much to talk about with this game. Sort of around what you expected. It was going to be a tight game. Everton against Wolves. I said it was going to be 1-0, but I thought it was going to be to Everton. It ended up being to Wolves. Everton should have won this game. It was very similar to that game against Fulham on the opening day. They created a lot of chances, but they couldn't finish them off. And the opposition goalkeeper had an absolute stormer. You could argue Pickford cost Everton because he should have come out for the cross that Wolves scored from. Everton have now signed a striker called Beto. They need him to score instantly because they're creating chances. And if they do play like that with a proper striker, they will win games. But this was a relegation 6-pointer and they lost it at home. They've got another one against Sheffield United next week. However, that's away. If they lose that one, I don't want to say it's looking scary for Everton, but they might start to get a bit worried. I think they have been a bit unlucky with the easier fixtures falling when they didn't have a striker. Manchester United against Nottingham Forest, I banged this one. I said it was going to be 3-2 United, and it was 3-2 to United. Forest went 2-0 up after 4 minutes, man. Like, the first goal, you just ran straight through. Rashford was really poor defending from him. He just didn't run back, and then when he did get back, he just put in a really poor tackle, and Awoniyi scored pretty easily. Then again, the second goal, set piece. Wally didn't even have to jump to head it. That's how poor the marking was. It was a bit embarrassing, to be honest. But credit to Manchester United, they got back into it. Rashford had a hand in 2 of the goals. One of them was him earning a penalty. It was a bit soft, but there was contact, so I do think it probably was a penalty. Manchester United definitely need to improve defensively, man. Casemiro, again, he scored, but his defensive work was terrible. They need to get another central midfielder in very quickly. They might even need to get another centre-back in because Martinez has not been good at the start of the season. Brighton against West Ham. I said it was going to be 3-1, but I thought it was going to be to the home side. Turns out the away side took it. Now on another day, Brighton could have scored 8 goals, but also on another day, West Ham could have scored like 6. It was a very entertaining game. Brighton dominated the possession. They created a few very good chances. I really made some fantastic saves, like 3 of them from Ferguson. There was a dunk header, gross shot as well, and there was another dunk header that cleared off the line. However, West Ham did really well. Antonio was fantastic. Again, just the pressure he puts on defenders. Webster had a stinker in the Brighton back line. Bone was very good. He scored and got an assist. Antonio also scored. Technically, he should have got an assist, but I think that he won't be credited with it. He was just an absolute nuisance, Antonio, man. He's so underrated in my opinion. He's definitely better than Richarlison. West Ham overall defended really well. 2 wins and a draw from the first 3. They'll absolutely take that. They've spent that Rice money really well, and it's a complete contrast to how they were doing a week before the season started. It was looking a bit ropes, hadn't brought anyone in. There seemed to be a lot of tension between Moyes and the technical director. I think the business they've done has been really good and efficient. Not only have they spent the Rice money on 2 new midfielders, which I think they needed, they've also improved the backline, they've improved the attacking midfield. It's been a great window for them so far. As for Brighton, again, like I said, they were unlucky not to score a few more goals. Areola had an absolute stormer, but they shouldn't really get too hung up on it. It was a good performance from both sides. It does show both sides' ambition. I think West Ham were very overlooked by a lot of people at the start of the season. A lot of people put them in between like 14th to I saw some people putting them in even lower than that. But I think no one really put them above sort of 12th. I put them in 10th personally. But I think there are a lot of strong sides, but they started as well as they possibly could have. Burnley, Aston Villa. I said it was going to be 2-1 to Villa. They ended up winning 3-1. Matty Cash was fantastic, as was Diaby, as he always is. Watkins had a couple of chances that fantastically saved from James Trafford in the Burnley net. Zaniolo also came on and looked decent. Burnley did have a good spell at the start of the second half. They were putting a bit of pressure on Villa, and they didn't score from it, and Villa actually scored from a counter-attack from that. When you've got a player like Diaby in your team, it doesn't really matter if you're under the cosh a little bit. If he gets a moment, he'll score, and he did, and that took Burnley out of the game really until the end where Jay Rodriguez came on and had a couple of chances. So again, with Burnley, they haven't had a very easy start to the season. Manchester City and Aston Villa, and they've got Tottenham next, so it'll probably be another loss for them, but they're playing decent, to be fair. They've shown moments. And Villa, they've shown that first game against Newcastle was a blip, and they're not going to be that poor for the rest of the season. They've got Liverpool away next, which is going to be a real tough test for them, and we'll see how they handle that. Sheffield United to Manchester City. I thought it was going to be a comfortable Manchester City win. It was anything but. Although Manchester City dominated the possession, Sheffield United defended really well. Foderingham made a few very good saves, but on the whole, the Sheffield United defenders dealt with Haaland really well. He also missed a penalty, but there was one moment, and that's all you need when you're Manchester City, where Haaland got clear of the centre-backs and he just headed home into an empty net from a good Grealish cross. At that point I thought, oh, it's done. But Sheffield United fought back, and Bogle, who just came back from a big injury, scored a wonderful goal. And I thought, oh my God, are they going to do it? And again, Sheffield United messed up at the back. Larouci, man, he was trying to shield the ball out of play, but he just completely messed it up. Walker got in, he played a ball across, Foden played it back to Rodrigo, just smashed it in with his weak foot. It was a really good finish. But then Sheffield United went up the other end, and Anel Akhmedozic, I could have butchered that name, sorry, had a really good chance, man, but instead of, he's a centre-back and he tried to like control it with his foot into the goal. He should have just headed the ball. If he diving headers it, Sheffield United get a point against the champions, against the treble winners, and he didn't do it, man. But again, you know, Sheffield United will definitely improve from this. You could argue they were unlucky in this game not to get something. You could argue they were unlucky against Forest not to get something. They conceded 2 very late goals in both games, which you could also argue is an issue in itself. They need to be able to see games out a bit better. They've lost all 3 of their games by just 1 goal. So that clearly proves there's something in them, and they've improved their squad since the start of the season. Gustavo Hamer's now sort of bedding in a bit better. Cameron Archer's coming in, like, you know, he's now officially a Sheffield United player. He didn't play in this game, I don't know if he was registered. They will get better, and there's definitely a chance of them surviving. I was very impressed, you know, it wasn't the most attractive performance. They didn't play great football, but they did what they had to do, and they almost got a really, really good result. And Newcastle against Liverpool, I can't believe this one, man. I thought Newcastle were going to win it 4-1, and they really fucking should have. They absolutely ballsed it up. They lost 2-1 to a team that had 10 men for an hour of the match. First of all, Trent should have been sent off within 10 minutes. He got a yellow card for throwing the ball, and then he quite clearly stopped Gordon on a counter-attack, who kept bullying him the whole game until he went off. Newcastle then scored. Trent made a mistake, and Gordon got in behind and scored. Really good goal. Virgil van Dijk then gets a red card. It was a clear red card as well. He quite clearly swipes Isak out, and he was going to be through on goal. I don't understand how people are actually debating it. It was clear. But then Newcastle just didn't punish him, and and it's weird because on paper you'd think the worst side to go down to 10 men against is Newcastle, because typically they pass the ball around really quickly, they get runners in from deep, you know, they overload, and they didn't do it here. And I don't know why. I think they got complacent. And they were like, oh, they've got 10 men, they're not going to be able to do anything, let's just chill. And they had a lot of chances, you know. Almiron hit the post, he had a volley as well that was saved by Alisson. I don't know how he saved that, to be honest. It was really powerful. It was a great save. Then he had another chance from in the box where he leaned back and just hit it over. Harvey Barnes had a chance. I love Harvey Barnes, but I don't know why he came on for Gordon when he was playing so well. And he should have squared it to Callum Wilson. Game over 2-0, and he didn't. Sean Longstaff had a lot. Like, there were chances that Newcastle had, and they absolutely should have killed the game off. But Jurgen Klopp did really well. I'm assuming the game plan was just keep it 1-0 and we'll hit them on the break at the end, and they did that. And they did get lucky with 2 individual errors from the Newcastle defenders. First, Sven Botman tries to control the ball and just somehow messes it up, and Nunes gets put through. And he scored 2 really good goals. The finishes on him, fantastic. He struck 2 perfect shots. Dan Burn just switched off and let him in. Again, I really like Newcastle. Out of every team in the Premier League, they're probably the one I like the most. It's between them or Brighton. And I just wanted them to win, man. I really wanted to win. I had captained Isak in my FPL. I had Barnes there, but he shouldn't have come on because Gordon was cooking Trent so bad, man. It was an absolute bottle job. Eddie Howe got it completely wrong with the subs. I don't know why Tonali went off. Should have been Bruno. I didn't think he was fantastic. But you know what? Again, Newcastle, it's one of those results that could happen in a season. They've got a very tough game next. And even if they lose that one, they shouldn't panic, because after that they've got a very good run. I hope Eddie Howe survives, because he's a fantastic manager. He got it wrong today, as you sometimes will, but he's still the best manager in the Premier League in my opinion. I really like him. Don't panic, Newcastle board, please just keep him in. This could actually be a bad result for Liverpool though, because I feel like the owners will look at this and say, oh, we don't need any players, we just won with 10 men against one of the best sides in the league. And that could cost them later in the season, whereas if they'd lost, they might be like, oh, we actually do need players. For Newcastle, I do still think they need a right winger if Gordon is going to play on the left and Barnes is going to be back up. Almiron wasn't bad in this game, but there are games where he is quite poor. Like, he runs around a lot, but sometimes you can have poor decision making and stuff. If Newcastle had played like Salah, bruv, it would have been 4-0 after 50 minutes, game's done. You know, although there's not many in the world that are anywhere near as good as Salah, They need someone a bit better than Almiron, in my opinion. He's a very purple patch sort of player. That's my review. Let me know what you think, if you agree, if you disagree with certain things. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon for another video.